Hey guys, Derek here. Welcome back to the channel. We are back to watch another episode of The Last of Us. This is episode 8. This is definitely going to be one that makes me at least tear up, probably cry, just because of what happens in the episode. It's very, very emotional, but I'm very much looking forward to seeing it. The last episode was also very sad. We covered the whole Left Behind DLC, all the backstory with Ellie going to the mall with Riley and Riley's untimely demise. And I saw a weird amount of people that were saying that episode was filler. I mean, granted, they were probably using filler as a substitute for another reason why they didn't like the episode, but that was the word that they used at the time. They're like, why are we, not progressing the story forward? And it's like, bro, like, how do you have no media literacy at all to not understand how that episode not only informs Ellie's whole backstory, but also like informs her decision to stick by Joel, and her reasoning for fighting for Joel is insane. Like, how do you not realize the connections there and what that means for those two characters going forward? It's crazy. Like, this is like the people that hated The Last of Us Part 2, the game, because of the things that happen in that story, without realizing, like, this, even looking one layer deeper than their criticism. It's just like, come on, like, it's so easy to tell why that episode was important. And I think they just decided that because there were two girls kissing in that episode, that they didn't really want to like that episode. They thought it was woke, whatever that means. But this episode, it should satisfy those people's complaints. It's going to be moving the story forward quite a bit. And a lot of things are going to happen in this episode. I think we're going to see Troy Baker's character in this. We might see Ashley Johnson's character in this. And it's going to be very, very exciting. I hope we see a rabbit get hit with an arrow. That would be some supreme fan service if that happened. But no, I'm so stoked to jump into this. This is the penultimate episode of the season, which is kind of crazy to think about. I felt like we've been waiting so long for this show to come out, and now it's almost over. It's kind of baffling, how quickly it's gone. But I think this show did such a good job of like strengthening the argument for weekly releases of shows, because every single week that this show has come out, it's gotten a larger and larger audience every week, which is insane, which is the exact opposite of what happens when a streaming service drops all their episodes at once, where a ton of people watch right away and then it dies off as it goes. This, higher audience every week, bro. Like, when you drop a good show, more people watch it every week when it's weekly releases. And Netflix needs to realize this. HBO obviously already does. Disney Plus does. Amazon kind of does. Netflix is the only one that's lagging behind, and they need to step it up. But that's enough of me talking, so we are going to jump into the episode. Before we do that, if you end up enjoying my reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a ton to me, helps my channel grow a lot. If you're new here or you find yourself coming back often, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified when I upload. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider checking out my Patreon. That is linked in the description below. Sometimes I post these reactions early on Patreon as well, so if you're interested in that, consider checking it out. But otherwise, let's jump into episode 8 of The Last of Us.
Revelation 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth.
Silver Lake.
And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, "Behold,
This is
the
David.
tabernacle of God is with men."
This guy does a pretty good David voice.
I've read this passage too many times.
You're not allowed to cry in church. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Do you remember what comes next?
I don't know if she's...
And God will wipe away all tears from their eyes. For there will be no more death. Neither sorrow nor crying.
When can we bury him?
Oh, someone died. Got it. You can't. For reasons.
The ground is too cold to dig. We'll bury your father in the spring.
I mean, you could definitely dig, but there's a whole other reason why you're not allowed to bury people here. It's because they're useful for the num-nums.
James. Yeah. I sensed doubt in there.
Well,
I haven't lost faith in you, David. I'm just
there's
scared.
reasons
Not from them.
from you.
It's been, last 6 months have been hard.
For all of us. But I need to know you're with me.
He is, yeah. James is ride or die. David's so creepy. Like, he gives off that... He already definitely gave off that gross, pervy youth pastor vibe, but even more so now. They don't have a bow and arrow here. Such a big gun for her little body. That's a pretty shot. Ooh, that's what we're looking for, baby. Good. Didn't take it down in one shot, though. Wow, another beautiful shot.
Don't! Drop your rifles!
Trying to be intimidating, Ellie.
My name's David. This is my friend James. We're from a larger group, women, children, and we're all very, very hungry. We have, what do you need? We have boots.
Medicine? Like for infections.
Antibiotics.
That's your dad's gun? You the one that's sick? That's why you're out here on your own?
Just emptying all the bullets from it. Close up on the dead deer.
Is this some weird cult thing?
A little bit. Just a tiny
You sort
bit.
of kind of got me there. I am a preacher, but just pretty standard Bible stuff. No such thing as luck. No,
He's so
I believe everything happens for a
creepy.
reason.
He doesn't talk quite as slow as in the games. A little bit of a drawl. But he's still creepy.
Nothing will grow. Game's been hard to find. So I sent 4 of our people to a nearby town to scavenge what they could. And only 3 of them came back.
Oh, they're the ones from the college.
Turns out he was murdered
The girl that was
by
crying.
this crazy man. And get this,
He was traveling with a
that
little
crazy
girl.
man was traveling with a little girl. Everything happens for a reason. James, lower the gun.
She is the one that killed Alec, isn't she?
She didn't kill anybody.
Back away.
How do you know how much penicillin to use? Oh, Aaron from Blind Wave is gonna love this episode.
Do I put this job?
That's what I would wonder. Like, do you put it near the cut? Do you? Oh. She's got an unsteady hand. And that's a shiz load. Ugh, that's a lot. Well, that'll do it. He's healthy now. Oh, man. Wow. So cute. We know where that meat came from.
What is it?
Venison.
Don't say it like that. Little girl's about to eat her dad. That's rough.
We'll follow it to wherever they're hiding. And we'll bring that man to justice.
You should kill him. You should kill both of them.
That's revenge, not justice. God dang, son. Gets up, hits her again. That was unexpected.
I know you think you don't have a father anymore. But the truth is, Hannah, you will always have a father. And you will show him respect when he's speaking.
He ain't talking about God. Talking about himself, I mean. Now, be quiet. Eat your daddy. Giving Christians a bad name. None of them know. They're all eating so fast. Troy Baker knew. James knew.
Stay alert.
Oh.
About the girl.
We bring her back with us.
We bring that girl back with us. She's just another mouth to feed.
If we leave her out here, she'll die.
Yeah, maybe that's God's will.
He did not like that tone.
Okay. Okay, look at me. There are men coming, okay? But if anybody makes it down here, you fucking kill them. You got it? Joe. Joe, do not fall asleep.
Dude's like 6% awake right now. He's like, what? Poor Callus. Hopefully he doesn't die in this one.
Hey, motherfuckers! Let's go.
Troy, if you shoot this horse, I'm gonna be mad. Oh no! Callus, no! Ugh. Probably hurt to hit the ground like that.
Two of you with me. Drag the horse. The rest of you, stay here, go door to door.
The rest of you? There's only like 2 people here total. I think David is kind of one of the only true, like, bad guys in The Last of Us. Oh, J-Bones. J-Dog. It's all you, brother. Where is he? Oh, brother, that's a knife in your neck already. You're done. Joel is like barely holding on. Ugh. That's gross.
Why don't we just start with your name?
Eat shit.
Hey, listen to me.
We don't want to be part of your cult, David.
Timothy?
Oh, poor Timothy. Timothy.
Oh, shit.
Oh, you and Timothy about to be tied to a chair, brother? Oh, give me the scene. Give it to me. You're gonna point on this map. I'll pop your goddamn knee off.
I don't know any girl.
Oh, Jesus!
Right here, right here.
You focus right here. Or I'll pop your fucking kneecap off.
Oh, yes, Joel.
Alive.
Where?
Oh, fight! Fight! Oh, the town!
What town?
Oh. Oh. You're gonna point to it on this map. Oh. You're gonna point to it on this map. Your buddy better have the same answer.
You're gonna point to where we are and where your resort is. And it better be the exact same spot your buddy points to.
Go ask him, he'll tell you. I'm not lying.
Jesus! No! Why the fuck did you do that? He told you what you wanted.
I believe him.
You motherfucker, fuck you. I ain't telling you shit.
That's okay.
It's okay.
I'll
I
believe
believe
him.
him.
No.
Yes, Joel. Objectively awful thing to do to someone, but yes. I've been waiting to see that scene. Oh, yep. Someone was a little reckless with their cleanup.
If you want to judge me,
Judge you? You're eating people, you sick fuck!
It was a last resort. You think it doesn't shame me? But what was I supposed to do? Let them starve?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, don't eat people, David.
You don't know anything about me.
But I do. If I let you out of that cage right now, put that knife of yours in your hand, you'd stick me in a second.
Absolutely.
You have a violent heart. I've always had a violent heart.
Yeah, you creeper.
I'm a shepherd surrounded by sheep, and all I want
Is a wolf.
is an equal.
You creeper.
We'd make this place perfect. We'd grow, spread out, and we'd do whatever we needed for our people.
And you'd probably gladly spend a little bit of time in the bedroom with her, because you're a creeper. Ow! Ow! Ow.
You little cunt.
Oh, dropping the C word.
Let's see what I go tell the others now.
Ellie.
Ah!
What?
Ellie's
them
the
that
name, the
Ellie is
little
a
girl that
girl.
broke your
Broke her
finger.
fucking finger!
Tiny little
Tiny
pieces.
little pieces.
Rip. Rip, Ellie. Ellie's backpack. Poor Callus. It's a very fake looking horse, but that's okay. Yep. Ugh.
Shut up!
Ugh.
Don't do it, please don't do it, please
You
don't!
had your chance.
No, I'm infected! And now so are you. What did you say? Everything happens for a reason, right?
Troy, you about to get a machete to the neck. You best take a good step back.
Looks pretty fucking real to me.
Troy, no! Okay, so we're skipping the whole her being outside and killing a bunch of people part. And we're just going straight. Ugh. Sorry, Joel, in the game. We're going straight to the diner. Come on, Ellie. Oh, but it's set in the fire. I know you're not infected. Otherwise, you wouldn't be fighting this hard to live.
Ellie?
Brother, this whole place is burning down.
I know you're not infected. No one infected fights this hard to stay alive.
Are there any broken plates on the ground that you're accidentally going to walk across?
You don't know how good I am!
How good you
don't
are,
know
brother.
what I could have given you!
Oh,
Well, I have news for you. Neither one of us is dying today.
oh, brother, you are.
Ellie.
Oh, I'm getting ready to cry. Ooh. Gotta mentally prepare myself for the next 2 minutes of the show.
I thought you already knew. The fighting is the part I like the most.
Oh, you creeper. Oh, yes, Ellie. Yes. Oh. Damn. She went so hard. She went way harder than in the game. Wow.
No! Get off of me!
It's me. Look. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, baby girl. I got you.
Oh. God dang, dude. Oh, that's tough. Oh, and that's the end of the episode. Oh my goodness. Ooh. And there it is. The David sequence of the game. This one, this is a part of the game that when you first initially think of the game, like when you're thinking back on like the overall story, right? Like how things go, the major events that happen. Sometimes you initially forget about this sequence. Like when you're thinking of like the journey of Joel and Ellie and the emotional beats that happen just briefly, you forget about this part. And then when it happens, you're like, oh frick, this is like one of, if not the, like this is like top 2 most impactful, long-term, most emotional things that happens in this game and in this show. And it's it's so interesting just to see everyone's reactions to this part, because how it came about in the show and how it came about in the game is very different, right? You know, last episode was DLC in the game, so we didn't see any of that when we're initially playing the game, right? When we're playing the game, Joel drops off that horse in episode 6 or whatever, right? And then it cuts, and you see it's like winter, and you're like, what, winter? And you see this little bunny rabbit that's just trotting along, and you're like, oh, a bunny. And that's where that iconic Twitch clip comes from, where that girl is, she's already crying, and she's like, oh, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever effing seen in my life. And then this bunny gets smoked by an arrow. And her reaction is gold. But then you transition to playing as Ellie, and everyone's like, what? Like, is Joel dead? Like, we're playing as Ellie now? And then you play through this whole sequence of Ellie in this winter mill, like, right? And she shoots the deer, finds it, you know, you chase it down and all that, and you meet David and his helper James. And in the game, it's a lot more evident right off the bat that David's a creepy guy. Because I don't know what it is. Nolan North does the voice of David, I believe, in the game, and he's just so good. He's so good. Like he adds in like 5% of a southern twang, and then like just like 5% of like, I don't know how to say it, like it's like 5% like flamboyance, if that makes sense. Like if you've ever heard like a stereotypically like gay person talk, if you take like 4 to 5% of that and you toss that into David's speech, and then the rest is just like this like kind of just regular guy, old man preacher-esque type, and you add in all those elements, and and it just makes David, every time he talks, to be like the creepiest person. Like every single word he says is bringing you this sense of unease, right? And then you get the, or you go through this whole section where you're like fighting with David, like against infected, and it's this kind of like hectic, frantic time, and then you realize that he's not a good guy, that he is part of the group that you and Joel have been essentially massacring the whole game, right? Like just mowing your way through his men. And you realize, oh frick, I don't want to be around these people. Run back to the house, give Joel the medicine, and then you escape on the horse. That all happens, same thing. But that's where you like find out that Joel's alive, is when she gives him the medicine and stuff. But then, yeah, horse gets shot out, but it falls down a cliff in the game, and then the whole sequence kind of plays out similarly, except I think at one point Ellie escapes this little cage, and, you know, kills people around the town, trying to escape, and then finds herself back in the cage again anyway. Yeah, no. So they shoot the horse. They don't capture her right away. She kills a bunch of people, and then she gets in the cage. Got it. And, but the whole time you're getting this sense of unease and like uncomfortableness, and you can kind of tell the type of man that David is, right? He's a creepy cult of personality type leader that is pretty much blatantly using religion to get what he wants, right? He's not truthfully a religious person in his heart. He's just using it as a mask to cover up how horrible of a man he is. And that is something I really liked, how they incorporated that into the show, and they really went to show that like David's not a good man. Like, as much as you right off the bat might think, oh, he's a decent guy. Like, he wants to help us. He wants to make sure we're all good. Very quickly you realize he's not a good person. And I like how they showed a little bit of him, you know, with his own people, like doing a little church sermon, maybe being like, oh, he's a decent guy. But like, I think weirdly adding in the religious aspect makes him even creepier because it gives him the creepy Catholic priest vibe, or like the pedophilic youth pastor vibe, you know, as much as 99.99% of pastors and priests and all that are genuinely good people who like care about their congregation and love the Lord well and all that. There is that small percent that, you know, as small of a percent as it is, they still exist, and the public image of them is much larger than however many there are. But that is the type of profession where you can't have a few bad apples, you know, just like police or anything, you know, like that. Like, you may say there's only a couple bad apples. That's the type of profession where you shouldn't have any bad apples. And unfortunately, that's the vibe that bad actors have given those people, and David very much gives off that vibe of like, you know, like you first catch the glimpse of it when he's talking. I mean, I knew right off the bat, right, because I played the game 7 times and I've watched other people play it 10 plus times, so I'm intimately familiar with the story of the game. So I knew immediately David's a bad guy. Like, don't trust this man at all. I'm very curious to see people's reaction who have never played the game, of like what they thought of David initially and what was the turning point to them realizing he's not a good person. Like, I think the first initial turning point might be, it's either gonna be when he kind of confronts Ellie about the fact that they killed one of their people, right? When he's like, oh, everything happens for a reason. Some crazy man killed this guy, and he was with a girl. That might be the moment where people are like, oh, we're not supposed to like this guy. He's a bad guy. Or it might be the moment where he backhands that little girl. That actually took me by surprise. I don't know why. I was not expecting him to just like demolish this child. But then his line of dialogue there, where he's like, you still have a father. Oh, very interesting, by the way, that little girl's father is the one that Joel snapped his neck in episode 6. You know, they tried to kill him and stuff. And he's also the one that she's currently about to eat. Like, crazy. But his line of dialogue where he's like, oh, you still have a father. And like, for a brief second, you're like, you almost expect him to be like, oh, you still have a father in the Lord. Because he's like putting on this facade of being a religious man, right? You might think like, oh, like, your biological father's dead, but you still have a father in the Lord. And even that is a sucky thing to say to her, right? Like, like it sucks. Like you don't want to tell someone that just lost their father, don't worry about it. You have another father in the Lord. Like, there is, if you're a religious person, there is, hints of truth to that, being like, oh, you still have a father, an almighty father in the Lord. But that doesn't take away the pain of losing your actual father. It's not a replacement type scenario. But then he doesn't say that. He doesn't take it the religious direction, and he says, I'm the father, and you will respect him when he is talking. And it's like, oh damn. Like, so not only is he like, he's almost like indirectly manipulating them to have faith, but have faith in him and not have faith in God. Like, he's very much a cult leader. But then when he talks to Ellie later, he's like, oh, it's just normal Bible stuff. And it's like, no, no, you're a creeper. And that's not even adding in the fact that the town is cannibals. Like, most of them don't realize, but they eat people. and then Ellie's in the cage, finds out that they're cannibals, obviously reacts poorly. No one wants to be trapped in a cage by a bunch of cannibals. I mean, even if you weren't trapped in a cage, like, knowing that the people you're with eat people is understandably a distressing thing to hear. Like, whoever was chopping people up didn't do a very good job of it, right? They gotta pick up those ears, right? And even at that point, David is almost still trying to portray this like facade of a decent man, so to speak. Like, he's being like, you don't think that it shames me that we do this? And it's like, I mean, that part might shame him, but like, all the rest of what he does not shame him. He's like, I gotta keep my people alive. They believe in me. They've put their faith in me. And Ellie's like, you're crazy. And then he tries to, the route that he takes next is so creepy. Because he's like, me and you, like, we could be the ones that are ruling this place, in charge. Like, you could be my queen, my bride, essentially. Like, he's trying to set up this scenario with her where, like, him and her are the ones that are running this town. And he believes that, none of his people might find it creepy that he now has a child bride. It's just like he's clearly being like, me and you are going to be number one and number two. But he's leaving out the part that she's not just going to be second in charge. Like, they're going to be partners. She's going to be his little wife girl. And he's probably going to, spend a liberal amount of time in the bedroom with her and create, he talks about creating and growing beyond in the family they could have. And it's like, dude, she's a child. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you talking about, man? You pedophilic crazy guy. Like, what is going on? And he's doing everything to say without saying that he wants to have her be his wife and bear his children and all that gross crap. And it's so gross. Like, it's so gross. And if anyone tries to be like, oh, I don't know if that's what he was saying, the line later when he's on top of her in the burning diner solidifies it. But then, yeah, she breaks his finger. Like, such a good moment of acting for her, where she's like pretending to like almost be drawn in by it just so she can snap his finger, and just because she's vindictive. Ellie's just a punk. like she is a violent person at heart. Like, she's a violent person, and she was totally willing to go along with his little lie purely for the opportunity to break his finger and potentially grab the keys. She didn't think about anything beyond that of like, after I unlock this cage door, what happens? Right? Like, that didn't cross her mind. She's just like, this isn't any opportunity to get out of here and hurt this man I'm gonna take. And the lines of dialogue they pulled straight from the game of like, how did you put it? Tiny little pieces. It's like, oh, creeper. And then, I haven't even really talked about the fact that Troy Baker plays James. They come in to chop her up, and Troy Baker gets a machete, like, cleaver to the neck and dies there. It's very interesting to see him in the show because, obviously, for those who are unaware, Troy Baker, James in this episode, plays Joel in the first and second game. He has this like voice that does not fit with his face. You know, the voice of Joel very much does not fit with who and what Troy Baker looks like. Especially because normally Troy Baker does not look that he doesn't look that gruff and not cowboy, but like gruff and outdoorsy. He normally is a very not effeminate or like metrosexual or like whatever, but he's very like groomed. If that makes sense. I mean, he typically often has a beard, but like he almost dresses like a front man of like a indie pop band from like 2011. like if you could imagine Troy Baker wearing skinny jeans and like a scarf. And you know the type. You know what Troy Baker, you know, you could look up pictures of Troy Baker looking kind of like all fancy and groomed and stuff. So he's very much not a gruff man. And so when he puts on the voice of Joel and it's like this polar opposite to who he is as a person, it's very, very interesting. But so it was very cool to see him and his portrayal in this because you know, his connection to the game is so very different than what happens here, and he just gets to have fun being a little he's not necessarily creepy. He's actively, you know, losing faith in David early on, and he doesn't want to be a part of this anymore. You know, he very much sees David for who he is, which is, you know, a charlatan. He sees him for the fake that he is, but he unfortunately is like, you know, what else am I gonna do? Like, I gotta eat, these people gotta eat. Like, he cares about the rest of the people. And even though his faith in David is waning quite a bit, he still trusts him to get them through this, right? But then, like, you see it in the moments where, like, they're about to eat, and he knows that he's eating people. He still does it, but he's not stoked about it, right? And he very much wants revenge. He wants to kill Ellie, but he's willing to go along with what David says, and then his loyalty bites him in the butt, and he gets that cleaver to the neck and dies, and it's great. Ooh, let's talk about the kind of the finale of the episode, right? You know, when she gets out into the diner, so to speak. And it's not really a diner. It's like not a cafe. It's like a lodge, a dining lodge. And she just throws the burning wood at him, misses by a mile. Like, worst throw I've ever seen, Ellie. And she is very much trying to sneak around, not be caught by David. The fan service would have been putting in some broken plates here and there for her to step on. That would have been funny. That section of the game is very tense and very creepy because as you're sneaking around, David is just like taunting you, right? He has a line where he's like, "I know you're not infected because no one that's infected fights that hard to stay alive." And it's like, ugh, I hate the way you speak, David. Like, it's gross. And in the game, all throughout this section of the game, they're kind of cutting back and forth between Ellie and Joel, where Ellie's, you know, doing her thing, trying to stay alive, and Joel's fighting through all these people to get to her, which is a moment that I loved that they showed in the game, in this from the game, where kills that dude initially, and then he tortures, like, Joel straight up tortures these two men to find out where Ellie is. You know, ties him up, like very much a callback to episode 6, right? If you've watched reactions to episode 6 and you saw the moment at the beginning of the episode when he is having those two older people, you know, show him where the town is, or you know all that, when he's like, oh, she better point to the same spot. Whenever you saw a reaction of someone being like, oh, like just the foreshadowing, this is why. Like, this is a lot of people's not favorite parts of the game, but people love this part of the game because Joel Joel, he truly gets to be this like machine, this man on a mission as he hunts for Ellie, right? He ties these people to the chairs and he's just straight up torturing them. And he stabs the guy in the leg and he's like, I'll pop your goddamn knee off. And you're just like, oh my God, this man is a monster. Like he's truly tapping back into the horrible man that he has been for the last 20 years, right? This is what Joel has done for 20 plus, not 20 plus, but roughly 20 years, you know, since his daughter died. This has been the man that he has become. This is why Tommy had to separate himself from Joel and didn't contact Joel when he found a nice place to live, because this is the man that Joel has become. And we had kind of gotten slight hints of that early in the season about, you know, how Joel has been bad and done bad things, and Ellie asks him if he's killed innocent people, but you don't truly see it until now, where he's straight up torturing these people. Man tells him the location, kills him anyway, and then he's gonna go kill his friend, and then he's like, he told you where it is, like, I'm not gonna say anything different. And he's like, it's okay, I believe him. And it's just like, oh my God, what a line. He kills that guy anyway. And it's just like, oh, and it's foreshadowing as well. It's hecka foreshadowing. You know, quick 10-20 second spoiler here. So if you don't want to get spoiled for, I mean, it's not a huge story part of the second game, but it happens in the second game. So quick spoiler here, starting 3, 2, 1. When Dina and Ellie are trying to find Tommy, and they go to that hotel, I think, and they see that Tommy has done the same thing to people trying to find Abby. It's like, foreshadowing, baby, foreshadowing. Okay, spoiler section is now over. Yeah, so you see Joel truly be the monster that we have known him to be. And as he's trying to find Ellie, and they talked about it in the post-episode thing where they're cutting back and forth, and you think that this is going to be a moment where Joel is the hero, and he comes in and saves Ellie from the bad man at the last moment, but that is not what happens. You know, we have David on top of Ellie being like, which is, I think this is an addition from the game. He didn't say this in the game, but he was like, oh, how did you know that the fighting's the part that I like the most? And it's like, you creepy man. Like, that's the line I was talking about that solidifies that he wanted to have sex with Ellie, is that line right there. When he's talking about him being, or her being his future leader queen, and the family they could have, and, you know, he intends to rape her. And he doesn't intend for it to be consensual. He likes when they fight. So he wants to rape Ellie. And it's awful. It's disgusting. And, you know, he deserves the machetes to the face that he gets in the next 10 seconds. Just very, very brutal. It was more brutal in this episode than it was in the game. You know, in the game, I think she gets like 4 or 5 good whacks into his skull before Joel like comes and hugs her and stops her. In this, she pummels this man's face for a good like 15 seconds. Like it's an extended like hack and slash of this man's brains. And then she stumbles out into the outside, and at that point is when Joel comes and hugs her. He finally finds her, and he didn't rescue her physically, but they talked about how he rescued her emotionally, and he was there for her and comforted her after the horrifically violent thing that she just did. And it's very interesting because, again, it's so much like foreshadowing and questions about the end of the second game of, like, you know, now that, okay, another quick spoiler. This one's like 10 seconds. So, you know, after starting now, So at the end of the second game, after she's done all these horrific things and killed all these people and done all these horrible things, she no longer has Joel to comfort her. She's just stuck in that loss on her own. I wonder what that means for her character in a potential part 3. Crazy, but spoiler done again. But the moment where he embraces her and they just hug and he says it's all right, I'm here, it's me, baby girl. It's like, oh God, oh, it's so it hits you like a truck, because he hasn't said that since his own daughter was alive, right? That's what he called his daughter's baby girl. And it's, it's just the final nail in the coffin of the fact that Joel now sees her as his daughter, and that she is his world and he will do anything for her. And that will lead us directly into the next episode, the finale of The Last of Us. It's gonna be very divisive for people who have not played the game. There's gonna be the people that played the game know what's coming. They know what's gonna go down. But I'm very curious to see the reaction in next episode from people who have not played the game and don't know the story, because it is going to be an episode that very much divides people of like what they think is the right thing to have happened. It's going to be crazy. This episode was so freaking good. We're going to see Ashley Johnson next episode. That's awesome. Very much going to be themes of like what Ellie means to the world, and we're probably going to follow the story of her mother fighting to have this child, and the fact it's probably going to be a situation where like she almost dies and almost doesn't make it, and you realize how close the world might have come to the cure for humanity just being lost because a random mother doesn't make it to have her kid. Again, none of this was in the game, by the way. We didn't learn anything about Ellie's mother. I think we learned a little bit from like tapes and stuff at the end of the game, but we very much don't know Ellie's mom's backstory. So it'll be very interesting to see that come to fruition in next week's episode. But holy cow, this was incredible. Loved it. Next week is going to be insane. But I think that's all I have to say on the matter. I thoroughly loved this episode. What did you guys think of the episode? If you have played the game, how did you feel that it stacked up? I very much enjoyed it quite a bit. If you have not played the game, how did you feel about the episode? Where do you land on what you think about the events of this episode? Tell me all your opinions. But other than that, that's all I got to say. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a ton to me, helps my channel grow a lot. If you're new here or you find yourself coming back often, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified when I upload. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider supporting me on Patreon. That would mean the absolute world. Sometimes I post these reactions early on Patreon as well, so if you're interested in that, consider checking it out. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.